An assistant professor of political science at Georgia Southern University, Dr. Kim Martin is joining us now.
Yes, and Dr. Martin, we want to thank you for being with us this evening. First, let's talk a little bit about your impression of tonight's presidential debate, the first in this election season.
Yeah, so the most surprising thing to me about this debate is how much things haven't changed over the past 4 years. Both men have gone on to be president or they're rerunning for president, but they're both, Donald Trump is still a very bombastic, very forceful speaker. Biden is still more measured, more policy focused, but they're still trading jabs at each other the way that they did 4 years ago.
So they say what's important about something like this, a gathering like this, is to move the needle with undecided voters. So what's your impression of whether they did that tonight?
Right, so that is what both campaigns are looking to do. So the people who are supporting Donald Trump are going to continue to support Donald Trump. The people who are supporting President Biden are going to continue to support him. It's those undecided voters in the middle that they're the ones to be won by both campaigns. Now, for these undecided voters, what they're going to be looking for, what they were looking for mostly, a lot of it had to do with character, with whether the candidates were fit for office, both mentally and physically. And so I think tonight we got sort of a good idea of the contrast between those two candidates. And so this is something, if independent voters are interested in, they should be able to tell the difference from this.
Well, let's talk policy now. When it comes to policy, what were the contrasts between these two candidates? And first, let's talk abortion.
Right, so there were a couple of different policy issues that there were clear differences between the candidates. When it came to abortions, President Trump said that he was in favor of abortions in cases of rape, incest, or health of the mother, but he wanted to keep the decision on the state level. So he wants for states, this means that there could be different policies in the different states. Now with Joe Biden, he wants to bring us back to Roe versus Wade, and he wants the decision to be between women and their doctors.
So I know one of the other key differences you found when it comes to policy was what they want done or what they were saying about the Israel-Hamas conflict.
That's right. So President Trump was talking about how he would like to help Israel get the job done, but he doesn't want the United States to have to pay for it alone. President Biden laid out a plan to exchange hostages in order for there to be a ceasefire, but he does still support Israel.
What is the number one key takeaway, or is there one?
Right, so I think that the number one key takeaway at this point has to do with character. I think this is really a good opportunity to see the difference between the presidential hopefuls and what their character is. And so this really gave us a good opportunity to see that.
So I guess the format of it, I don't know if the format is the right word, but it was like a different debate in terms of like no audience, and they had to take measures to mute mics between, what do you make of sort of how that manifested tonight?
Right, so that was a response to the 2020 debates with different candidates interrupting each other. And so I think that there's a very good chance that they'll continue with these sort of rules moving forward. It seemed to work, and I guess we'll see what people thought about it, but I think that this is something that's going to stick around for now.
Well, Dr. Kimberly Martin, we certainly appreciate you spending the evening with us and giving us some pointers on this presidential debate. We look forward to working closely with you in the future.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. So to see more stories from tonight's debate, you can head to WSAV.com/debate.